When I dialed my son Evan's number to ask about his upcoming wedding, my daughter-in-law Nora locked eyes with me and flashed a smile that sent a shiver down my spine. "Oh, we tied the knot yesterday," she said coolly. "We only invited special people." Those words landed like a punch to the gut. Special people. For 3 years, I'd covered their $500 monthly rent, furnished every corner of their home, and stocked their fridge when they were scraping by. Yet I wasn't special. I stood in the living room of my Boston home, clutching the phone like it was a lead weight, watching Evan dodge my gaze while Nora lounged on the couch I'd paid for. The pale blue dress I'd chosen for her wedding hung untouched in my closet, next to new shoes and the shattered hope of being part of my only son's big day. I'd spent $200 on that dress, picturing myself beaming in Evan's wedding photos. Photos I'd never be in for weeks. I'd planned every detail. I'd saved $1,000 for their wedding gift, called my sister Clara in Boston to share the excitement, and scrubbed my house spotless, thinking they might stop by to celebrate. All that crumbled with those 4 venomous words. Only special people. Evan finally met my eyes, his voice mechanical. "Mom, it was small. Just us and the witnesses."
A lie.
I'd seen the photos on social media. Nora's parents grinning beside the couple, her siblings raising champagne flutes. I saw her elegant white dress, partly funded by the $800 I'd given her last month for personal expenses. I saw everything I wasn't meant to see. A week later, Nora called, her voice stripped of its earlier confidence. "Elaine, the rent's overdue," she pleaded. "The landlord's threatening to evict us."
You didn't send the money.
I paused, recalling every time I'd rushed to the credit union to cover their bills, canceled my own plans, or ate simple meals to fund their wants. After they'd excluded me from their wedding, they dared call as if nothing had changed. "Nora," I said, my voice steady, "didn't I tell you I only help special people?" The silence on her end was deafening, my heartbeat loud in my ears. For once, she was the one trembling. "Elaine, I don't understand," she stammered. "You've always treated us like family. You're like a second mom." Lies, coded in that syrupy tone she used when she needed something, the same tone that coaxed money from me for her dress, their honeymoon, their rings, all for a ceremony I'd never witnessed. For years, I'd tiptoed around them, measuring every word, gift, and gesture, chasing scraps of affection from my own son. I was the perfect mother, the dutiful mother-in-law, the quiet provider who never complained when they treated me like a shadow. But only special people woke something in me I'd buried too long. I tallied the cost of their life: $18,000 for rent, $7,200 for groceries, $3,000 for gifts, $800 for Nora's medical bills, $2,500 for their unpaid car loan, $600 for their AC repair, $1,200 for furniture. Total, $33,300. Money drained from my retirement, my late husband's legacy, my decades of penny pinching. That night, I sat on my bed and wept, not from sadness, but from rage, from years of swallowed slights. I cried for the mother who'd let her love be mistaken for obligation, her presence for a paycheck. By morning, something had shifted. My tired eyes in the mirror held a new steel, a resolve I hadn't known I possessed. I brewed coffee, as I had for 40 years, but this time, I didn't check my phone for Evan's texts or apologies. For the first time, I was my priority. At my kitchen table, where I'd planned their surprises and paid their bills, I pulled out my bank statements. The numbers stared back. $33,300 spent on people who saw me as dispensable. When Evan's name lit up my phone, I let it ring. Then Nora called. I ignored that too. A text from Evan. "Mom, please answer.
We need to talk."
I deleted it and sipped my coffee. That afternoon, I walked through downtown not for their errands but for me. Passing the park where I'd once pushed Evan on swings, I wondered when my sweet boy became a man who saw me as a bank. When had I started believing love meant money? At the credit union, Mr. Harper, the manager who'd processed my endless transfers, waved me in. "Mr. Harper," I said, "cancel all my automatic payments." He blinked, surprised. For 3 years, Those transfers had been clockwork. "Are you sure, Miss Carter? Is everything okay?" His concern felt warmer than Evan's cold excuses. "Everything's fine," I said. "I've just opened my eyes." My phone buzzed. Evan, Nora, Evan again. I powered it off. "Miss Carter," Mr. Harper said, handing me the paperwork, "I've seen how generous you've been. I hope no one's pressuring you." His words, from a near stranger, held more care than my son's. "No pressure," I replied. "I've just stopped pressuring myself." As I left the credit union, a weight lifted from my shoulders, like I'd shed a heavy coat in spring. For the first time in years, my money was mine alone, no longer tethered to people who saw me as a wallet, not a person. At Elaine's house in Boston, I reflected on all I'd sacrificed for Evan and Nora. Trips I never took, friends I stopped seeing, hobbies abandoned because every dollar spent on myself was one less for their endless needs. When I pulled up, 3 cars sat outside my door. Evan's, Nora's, and a stranger's. Through the windows, I saw movement inside. My stomach nodded. They had keys I'd given them, trusting they'd care for me as I had for them. Steeling myself, I opened the door, ready for the first real stand of my new life. Inside, a scene burned into my memory. Evan slouched on my couch, head in hands. Nora paced like a cornered cat, and an older man I didn't know rifled through my papers on the dining table, my personal documents. "What's going on?" I demanded, my voice sharper than I'd planned. They froze, staring at me like I'd invaded my own home. Nora spoke first, her tone dripping with that familiar desperation. "Elaine, thank goodness you're here. We need to talk. Mr. Lawson's from the law firm we consulted about your situation." "My situation?" I asked, calm, but icy. "I'm doing just fine." Evan lifted his head, his once innocent eyes now clouded with financial dread. "Mom, the credit union said you canceled our transfers and blocked our account access."
Why?
Mr. Lawson, a gray-suited man in his 50s with a smile that oozed insincerity, extended a hand. "Miss Carter, I'm Dr. Lawson, a family law attorney. Your family's worried about your mental health." I ignored his hand. Instead, I marched to the table and gathered my documents. "These are private. You have no right to touch them." Evan's voice turned patronizing. "Mom, you've been acting strange, cutting us off without warning, ignoring our calls. We're worried you need help." Nora reached for my hand, her fake warmth reserved for moments of need. "Elaine, darling, stress can be hard at your age. Confusion is normal." Confusion. The word rang like a siren. They weren't here to help. They wanted to label me incompetent to seize my finances. The same woman who'd sneered about special people at her wedding now played the concerned daughter-in-law. "I'm not confused," I said, my voice cutting through the room. "I'm clearer than ever. Get out of my house."
Now.
Mr. Lawson interjected, his tone practiced. "Miss Carter, your family can intervene if your financial decisions seem impaired. They've documented concerning behaviors." I laughed, a raw, bitter sound. "Like what? Deciding my money's mine? Refusing to bankroll adults who treat me like garbage?" Nora flinched as if struck. "We've never mistreated you. Your family. Your money will be ours someday anyway. We're just planning ahead." There it was, the ugly truth. They saw me as a cash machine, already half dead, their inheritance ripe for the taking. "Out," I said, pointing to the door. "All of you." Evan stood, his face petulant. "Mom, we have bills, rent, car payments, the credit card you co-signed. You can't just abandon us." "Can't I?" I snapped. "I've paid rent for a home I wasn't welcome in, filled a fridge I never ate from, funded a life that erased me." Mr. Lawson slid a folder across the table. "These documents, a power of attorney, would let Evan and Nora manage your finances temporarily." I tossed the folder into the trash unopened. "The only thing transitioning is you to the door." Nora's tears came, not from sorrow but frustration. "You can't do this, Elaine. We counted on you, bought things, took on debts because we knew you'd help." "Debts based on my money," I shot back. "Not my happiness, not my presence, just my money. Now that I'm choosing my own life, I'm suddenly a confused old woman. Evan stepped closer, but I backed away. He wasn't my little boy anymore, just a man chasing an easy life. "We messed up, Mom," he said, feigning regret. "The wedding was a mistake." Nora was stressed. "Let's fix this if you'll be reasonable." Reasonable? The word stung. Reasonable is me paying for your life while you exclude me from it? Pretending it didn't gut me to miss your wedding? Mr. Lawson packed his briefcase with a defeated air. "Ms. Carter, this isn't over. Your family has legal options. A judge could appoint a guardian if your decisions seem irrational." The threat hit hard, but I held his gaze. "Mr. Lawson, I've managed my finances for 40 years, raised a son alone after my husband's death, and supported 2 ungrateful adults until last week. Do your homework before threatening me." Nora's eyes turned cold, her mask gone. "This isn't over, Elaine. We have rights and lawyers." "Good," I said. "Hire them with your own money, because mine's done funding your schemes." They shuffled out, their wounded pride palpable. Evan paused at the door. "Mom, you'll regret this. You'll end up alone." "Evan," I said, my voice heavy with clarity, "I already am. But now, it's my choice, not your neglect." As the door shut, my living room filled with a profound silence, the sound of freedom. That night, sleep eluded me, not from sorrow, but from the electric rush of reclaiming my life. Lying awake, I mapped out my next moves like a strategist plotting a campaign. If Evan and Nora wanted to fight, I'd meet them with calculated resolve, not raw emotion. By 6 a.m., I was dressed and out the door, heading to Mr. Bennett's law firm in Boston, a trusted attorney I'd met years ago while settling my husband's estate. Unlike Mr. Lawson, Evan and Nora's shady lawyer, Mr. Bennett was known for safeguarding seniors' rights. "Miss Carter," he said, leaning forward as I recounted the previous day's intrusion, "where son and daughter-in-law did his textbook elder financial abuse, a federal offense. Entering your home and rifling through your documents without permission? That's a violation." His words steadied me, confirming I wasn't imagining the betrayal, but they also unsettled me, revealing the gravity of their actions. "We need to document everything," Mr. Bennett urged. "Every payment, every gift, every time they pressured you for money. We'll also revise your will to shield your assets from future schemes." For 3 hours, we pored over my financial records. When he saw the total, $33,400 over 3 years, Mr. Bennett let out a low whistle. "Ms. Carter, this could have funded a comfortable retirement, travel, joy. Instead, you bankrolled 2 adults who didn't even invite you to their wedding." Leaving Mr. Bennett's law firm, I had a plan: change the locks on Elaine's house, install a top-tier security system, open a new account at a different credit union, and finally live the life I'd deferred for years. My next stop was the home improvement store. Mr. Winters, the owner who'd sold me countless fixes for Evan and Nora's apartment, greeted me. "Miss Carter, another emergency for your son?" he asked, his tone warm but knowing. "No, Mr. Winters. This time, it's for my house. I need the best locks you've got." He raised an eyebrow but didn't pry. While I picked out locks, his son Liam, a security system installer, walked in, fade at work. "Liam," I said, "I want a full surveillance setup. Money's no object." As they prepared for next day installation, my phone rang, an unknown number. It was Nora, using someone else's phone since I'd blocked hers after yesterday's confrontation. "Elaine, please don't hang up," she pleaded. "We need to talk like adults." "Speak," I said, my voice cold. "I know you're upset about the wedding. It was a mistake. Evan and I want to make it right. Maybe a special dinner at your place, cooking together like old times?" Her manipulation was transparent, almost laughable. "Nora, how much rent do you owe?" Silence. Then, 2 months, $1,000. "But, Elaine, it's not just about that. We miss you." "Do you miss me or my money?" I asked. She hesitated, then admitted, "Both. We need your help, but we love you, too." "If I'm so loved," I countered, Why wasn't I at your wedding? Why do your calls always come with a price tag? When did you last ask how I'm doing? Silence again. The answer was clear. Never. Nora, for 3 years, you've treated me like a cash machine with a pulse. You used me, ignored me, humiliated me. Now, when the money dries up, you suddenly love me. Elaine, please. I cut her off. You made your choice when you decided I wasn't special enough for your wedding. Now I'm making mine. I hung up and powered off my phone, determined to savor my day of freedom. The spa, a place I hadn't visited in over a year. I treated myself to a full makeover. Cut, color, manicure, pedicure. I'd always canceled appointments for Evan or Nora's emergencies, redirecting my funds to their needs. Miss Carter, my stylist Vanessa beamed. I thought you'd forgotten us. Not you, Vanessa, I said. I forgot me. As she worked, we chatted about her life, her kids, her dreams, refreshing talk untainted by Evan and Nora's demands. You look radiant, she said, finishing. But more than that, you look free. I am, Vanessa. I've learned to say no. At home, a strange car sat outside. My heart raced, fearing another ambush, but an older woman waited on my porch. Miss Carter, she asked. I'm Margaret Ellis, your neighbor. We've never talked, but I heard shouting yesterday and got worried. Her genuine concern warmed me, unlike Evan's calculated pleas. Come in, Margaret, I said. Over coffee, I poured out my story. She listened, eyes welling up. You did the right thing, she said. I went through this with my daughter years ago, thinking I had to buy her love. When I cut her off, she tried guilt, threats, everything. But after 6 months, she apologized. Now we have a real bond, not a transaction. Her story sparked hope. Will Evan and Nora ever get it? I asked. Maybe, she said. But that's not your burden anymore. Your job is to live for you. That night, I slept deeply, untroubled by thoughts of Evan and Nora's bills or whims. I dreamed of my own plans, my own future. At 8 a.m., Liam and Mr. Winters arrived to install locks and cameras. My phone buzzed with unknown numbers. Nora, still trying. I ignored them, a skill I was mastering. This system's top-notch, Liam said. You'll see who's at your door from anywhere, and any break-in triggers a police alert. The irony stung, securing my home against my own son. But it was just practical now, not painful. Then I called my sister Clara in Boston. Our talks had dwindled, always dominated by my boasts about funding Evan and Nora, mistaking money for love. Elaine, Clara answered, surprised. I'm better than ever, I said, spilling the whole saga. The secret wedding, the lawyer's visit, my decision to stop the cash flow. When I finished, Clara sighed. Elaine, it's about time. Every call, you'd list what you gave them, like love was a ledger. I wanted to say something, but didn't know how. Say what? I asked. That Evan never spoke of you with warmth at family gatherings. Clara's words cut deep. It was always Mom paid for this, or Mom bought that, but never I miss Mom, or I love Mom. You were their bank, not their mother. Her observation stung, a necessary wound, like a surgeon cleaning an infection. And Nora, Clara added, always talked about you in the future tense. When Elaine's gone, we'll renovate her house, or when we inherit, we'll start that business. As if they were counting the days until you were out of the way. The truth hit like a winter gust. Evan and Nora didn't just see me as a cash machine, they saw me as a hurdle to their fortune. While I poured my heart into their happiness, they were plotting a future without me. In my Boston kitchen, I sat, grappling with the weight of it. 35 years raising Evan alone after my husband's death, 3 years funding 2 adults who viewed me as a $100,000 roadblock. The doorbell chimed. My new cameras showed Margaret Ellis holding a steaming mug. I opened the door, and she handed me coffee with a warm smile. Thought you could use company after yesterday, she said. We settled in my living room, and Margaret shared her own story. My daughter used the same lines Nora feeds you. You're like a second mom. We're special to you. Your money's ours someday. It's like they've all read the same playbook. Is there really a handbook for this? I asked, half laughing. Not officially, Margaret replied, but it's predictable. Chapter 1. Make you feel essential. Chapter 2. Invent endless financial crises. Chapter 3. When you push back, question your sanity. Our laughter was sharp, tinged with the tragedy of recognizing our children's tactics. Did you ever feel guilty for cutting them off? I asked. Every day for 3 months, she admitted. But then my daughter got a second job, her husband quit his weekend hobbies for work, and they learned to live within their means. Most importantly, they saw me as a person, not a paycheck. That afternoon, I did something long overdue. I visited my husband's grave in the memorial garden. I'd avoided it, always prioritizing Evan and Nora's emergencies over the taxi fare. Thomas's headstone was weathered, neglected from months of my absence. Sitting on the grass, I spoke to him. Thomas, I lost myself after you left, pouring everything into Evan. I wanted to be the perfect mom, but I forgot to be me. Our sons changed, or maybe I refused to see who he was. His wife. You know how she is. I spent your legacy, keeping them afloat, but no more. A soft breeze felt like his reply. I cleaned the stone, replaced wilted flowers, and lingered, savoring the peace. Home. 3 cars were parked outside. My pulse quickened, but my cameras revealed Evan, Nora, and 2 strangers, gesturing heatedly toward my house. I stayed in my car and called Mr. Bennett. They're back with others, I said. Stay put, he advised. I'm coming with police. We filed a temporary restraining order yesterday. They're violating it. Soon, Mr. Bennett and 2 patrol cars arrived. I watched officers confront Evan, who waved his arms in fury, and Nora, whose tears no longer swayed me. An officer approached my car. Ms. Carter, it's safe to exit. They're leaving. As I stepped out, Evan shouted, Mom, this is absurd. We're your family. You can't call the cops on us. Family doesn't sneak into my home, I replied, steady. Family doesn't threaten lawsuits to declare me incompetent or treat me like a bank. Nora shrieked. You owe us. We have bills you co-signed. You can't abandon us. Mr. Bennett stepped in. Ms. Ellis, communicate through my office. And, before you make debt collection threats, know we've documented every cent Ms. Carter gave you over 3 years. They drove off, defeated but not done. I knew the fight wasn't over, but I felt anchored. Mr. Bennett's expertise, Margaret's support, and my own clarity bolstered me. That evening, Margaret invited me for dinner. I met her daughter, witnessing a family bond built on respect, not transactions. I wanted that with Evan, I told Margaret later. Maybe you'll have it, she said. But first, he must see you as a person, not a resource. The next days were calm, though my cameras caught Evan and Nora driving by, sometimes lingering, watching my house like predators studying prey. Mr. Bennett had urged me to log every visit, so I noted dates and times. Their persistence strengthens our case for a permanent restraining order, he said. On Friday, as I ate breakfast, the doorbell rang. My cameras showed a polished young woman with a folder, her smile too professional. Good morning, Ms. Carter, she said. I'm Ms. Keller from Senior Services. We received a report you may be at risk and need a wellness check. My blood chilled. Evan and Nora had escalated, involving the government. May I see your ID? I asked, steadying my voice. She showed a legitimate badge. I'm Ms. Keller, a social worker. May I come in? I let her in, knowing refusal could hurt my case. She sat, pulling out a form. Ms. Carter, reports claim you've shown erratic financial behavior, cut off family contact, and installed excessive security, suggesting paranoia. It's also said you've refused medical and legal help from loved ones. The words reeked of Nora's manipulative phrasing. Ms. Keller, I said, I'd like to call my lawyer before answering. This isn't an interrogation, just a wellness check, she replied. If you've nothing to hide, talking should be fine. That phrase, nothing to hide, ignited my fury, the same tactic abusers use to justify invasions. I'm calling my lawyer, I repeated. I stood firm, facing Ms. Keller. You can wait or return another day, but I won't speak without my lawyer. I called Mr. Bennett, who arrived at my Boston home in 20 minutes, his face tightening at the sight of the social worker. "Miss Keller," he said, inspecting her ID, "I hope you have a court order, because questioning my client without authorization is harassment." Ms. Keller's confidence wavered. "We received reports from concerned family about her well-being. It's our duty to investigate." "Which family?" Mr. Bennett asked sharply. "The ones who tried to trick her into signing a power of attorney? Who broke into her home and rifled through her papers? Who excluded her from their wedding while draining her savings?" He placed a folder on the table. "Here's proof of $33,400 taken from Ms. Carter's accounts over 3 years, alongside systematic emotional manipulation and social exclusion. If anyone needs investigating, it's not my client." Ms. Keller skimmed the documents, her unease growing as the narrative she'd been fed unraveled. "Ms. Carter," she said, "why did you suddenly stop supporting your son?" "Because I realized they were using me," I answered. "To Evan and Nora, I'm not a mother, just a bank account. I'm done funding people who see me as an obstacle." "Don't you feel a duty to help family?" she pressed, igniting my anger. "Ms. Keller, my duty as a mother was to raise Evan until he was 18, equipping him to be independent. He's 35, married, and capable. Bankrolling his life isn't my obligation, it's my choice, and I've chosen to stop." Mr. Bennett added, "Would you consider it normal for a 35-year-old to rely on his 71-year-old mother for rent?" Ms. Keller hesitated, reassessing. "Ms. Carter, do you manage your finances independently?" "My bank statements, investments, and taxes are in order," I said. "I maintain my home, drive, and have healthy friendships with neighbors. I take only vitamins and occasional aspirin, no medical conditions." Mr. Bennett chimed in. "Ms. Carter recently underwent thorough medical exams for our legal process. She's in perfect mental and physical health." Ms. Keller closed her folder. "Based on this, I see no need for intervention. This case is closed." After she left, Mr. Bennett turned to me. "Elaine, they'll keep escalating. Evan and Nora are burning cash on lawyers to paint you as incompetent. It's desperation." "What's next?" I asked. "They could file a lawsuit for incompetence. It's costly and tough to win, but a biased judge or a hired psychiatrist could sway things. Still, our evidence of your competence and their greed is strong." I called Clara to vent. "They're risking everything, family, reputation, money, just to access your accounts," she said. The truth sank in. Evan and Nora never saw me as a mother, only a resource. The realization, though painful, freed me from guilt. I was done questioning my choice to protect myself. That evening, Margaret visited with her garden club friends, Vanessa, Sophia, Isabella, and Beatrice. Each had faced similar family exploitation. Sophia had cut off a brother who only called for cash. Isabella distanced her daughter, who visited only for handouts. Beatrice rewrote her will after her grandchildren eyed her as their retirement fund. "What hurts most," I admitted, "is losing the love I thought I had." Beatrice, wise at 80, said, "True love can't be bought. If you paid for it, it was never real." Her words soothed my aching heart. I'd purchased attention, not affection. "Loneliness surrounded by users is worse than being alone," I told them. "Now, when I'm alone, I'm in good company." We toasted to newfound strength, laughing under the stars, which seemed brighter. Or maybe my eyes were clearer. For the first time, I was financially free, with no obligations but to myself. I could travel, redecorate, donate to causes, or invest in my future, not others' greed. Freedom felt like hope. A month later, my routine was bliss. Breakfast with a newspaper, gardening, lunches with Margaret or new friends, and painting, a passion I'd abandoned to fund Evan and Nora. But one Thursday, as I painted wildflowers, Mr. Bennett arrived, his face grim. "Elaine, they've filed a lawsuit in the district court, claiming you're mentally incompetent and seeking a guardian." The words hit like bricks. My own son wanted to strip my autonomy to control my money. Could they win? I asked. If a judge believes you can't manage your affairs, yes. Evan could gain control of your finances. He outlined their evidence, Statements from 3 witnesses alleging erratic behavior, unpaid medical bills I never owed, and untaken medications I never had. They claim you refused a psychiatric evaluation, spinning it as mental decline, he said. Who are the witnesses? He checked his notes. Nora, a neighbor, Mr. Thornton, and your pharmacist, Mr. Baxter. Mr. Thornton, my surly neighbor, disliked me over parking disputes. Mr. Baxter's involvement puzzled me. I need to see him, I said. The pharmacy. Mr. Baxter looked nervous. Miss Carter, I heard you're claiming I said you mishandle medications. I nodded. Nora asked about your prescriptions, saying you were acting oddly. I told her you only buy vitamins and aspirin, no regular meds. She said that proved you neglected your health. Did you sign anything? Mr. Bennett asked. A form confirming her purchase patterns, thinking it was for insurance. I didn't know it was for a lawsuit. I asked him to write a clarifying statement, which he agreed to, apologetic. Next, we confronted Mr. Thornton. He was hostile. Yeah, I signed a statement. You're unhinged. Cameras like you're in a fortress. Strangers visiting. Yelling at family. Those cameras are for protection from my son's break-ins, I said. The strangers are friends. The yelling was defending my home. He scoffed. Sounds like a crazy person's excuse. His biased observations were useless. Back home, Mr. Bennett planned our defense. We'll get Dr. Foster, a mental health expert, to confirm your competence. Their lies won't hold against our evidence. I arrived at Dr. Foster's office in Boston, greeted by a woman in her 50s with warm, yet sharp eyes. Miss Carter, I'll conduct tests to evaluate your mental capacity, she said. Answer honestly, take your time. For 2 hours, she probed my memory, reasoning, financial acumen, and emotional health, administering cognitive tests and math problems. Miss Carter, she concluded, your results are exceptional for your age. Your cognitive function is outstanding. Why is my family doing this, doctor? I asked. Reviewing my documents, she sighed. This is classic elder financial exploitation, more common than you'd think. Her validation lifted me, but the reality of the lawsuit stung. That afternoon, Margaret rallied our garden club friends at her house. When I shared the incompetence suit, outrage filled the room. Elaine, Sophia vowed, will testify for you. We've seen you thrive these past weeks. You're stronger than women half your age, Vanessa added. Beatrice, with her 80 years of wisdom, clasped my hands. What Evan and Nora are doing isn't new. Greedy heirs have long tried to label parents incompetent for money. But you've got what many didn't. Evidence, legal support, and friends who've witnessed your strength. Her words kindled hope. I wasn't alone. The saddest part, I said, is that Evan and Nora are torching any chance of reconciliation for cash. Even if I could forgive, this crosses a line. That's for the best, Vanessa replied. You now see their true colors. That night, I wept, not from sorrow, but from mourning the son I thought I had, the dream of a loving family. Yet, a fierce resolve rose within me. They wouldn't strip me of my money, dignity, or freedom. The war was on, and I was ready. 3 weeks later, I woke early, donning my sharpest black suit, staring into the mirror with unyielding determination. Today, the district court would judge not just my mental capacity, but my right to live free from abuse, my worth beyond my bank account. Mr. Bennett arrived at 7 to review our strategy. Elaine, they must prove your incompetence. We just show you're not. Judge Thompson is fair. His record favors seniors' rights, not families by default. At the district court by 9, I spotted Evan in a crisp new suit and Nora in somber black, as if mourning our family's end. Evan avoided my gaze. Nora's cold stare confirmed this was a transaction, not love. Their lawyer, a polished older man exuding practiced confidence, opened with a clear tactic: paint me as a confused elder swayed by outsiders. Your Honor, he intoned, Ms. Elaine Carter has shown clear mental decline, abruptly cutting off family support, installing paranoid security systems, and isolating herself under the influence of neighbors and attorneys exploiting her vulnerability. His words twisted my empowerment into dementia, my freedom into manipulation. Nora took the stand first, her tears a theatrical masterpiece. "Elaine's like a second mother," she sobbed. "Her decline breaks our hearts. We just want her to get help." Lies cloaked in crocodile tears. Mr. Bennett's cross-examination cracked her facade. "Ms. Webster, when did you last call Miss Carter without asking for money?" She faltered. "We talked about lots of things." "A specific date?" "I don't recall." "Did you marry without inviting her?" "It was small." "Did you tell her only special people were invited?" Her face flushed. "That was misconstrued. What context justifies calling your mother-in-law not special?" She had no answer. Evan followed, and seeing my son swear to tell the truth while preparing to lie about my sanity was a dagger to the heart. "Mom's always been generous," he said, "but lately she's erratic, irrational, manipulated by others taking advantage." The boy I'd raised alone, for whom I'd sacrificed everything, now sat there betraying me for money. Mr. Bennett's cross-examination shattered Evan's facade. "Mr. Carter, how much money did your mother give you over the last 3 years?" "I'm not sure," Evan mumbled. "Does $33,400 sound accurate?" "Maybe. She's always been generous." "How often did you visit her without asking for money?" Silence hung heavy. "Did you and your wife enter her home without permission and search her private documents?" "We were concerned." "Did you bring a lawyer to pressure her into signing a power of attorney?" "We wanted to help with her finances." "At 35, do you need your 71-year-old mother to pay your rent?" Evan had no dignified response. Mr. Thornton, the neighbor, claimed I acted erratically, but under Mr. Bennett's questioning, he admitted he'd never spoken to me directly, basing his statement on skewed observations. Dr. Preston alleged my refusal of a psychiatric evaluation proved mental decline, but Mr. Bennett presented Dr. Foster's report, confirming my flawless cognitive health. Then our witnesses took the stand. Mr. Baxter, my pharmacist, clarified how Nora tricked him into signing a misleading statement about my medication habits. Dr. Foster detailed my exceptional mental clarity. Mr. Winters from the home improvement store testified to my rational decisions in canceling transfers. Margaret and my garden club friends, Sophia, Isabella, Vanessa, and Beatrice, spoke of my vitality and healthy relationships. When I took the stand, I carried 71 years of resilience. Mr. Bennett guided me through my story, the $33,400 spent, the wedding exclusion, the relentless manipulation, the home invasion, the legal threats. "Why did you stop supporting your son and daughter-in-law?" he asked. "Because I realized they didn't love me," I said, voice steady. "It was a transaction, not a family. My money was welcome, I was not. Do you regret it?" "Only that it took me so long." Their lawyer tried to paint me as confused, but I answered with precision, explaining my new friendships were built on respect, not exploitation. Their lawyer's closing argument called me a manipulated elder. Mr. Bennett's rebuttal was searing. "Your Honor, this isn't about an incompetent woman but one who broke free from years of financial and emotional abuse." The plaintiffs offer no medical evidence, only frustration that their cash flow stopped. Ms. Carter's choices are her legal and moral right. Judge Thompson deliberated for 2 agonizing hours before returning, his face resolute. "The evidence clearly shows Ms. Elaine Carter is fully competent. Her financial decisions, though difficult for her family, are rational and within her rights. This lawsuit appears driven by financial motives, not concern. The request for guardianship is denied. Victory wasn't just legal, it was my freedom, my dignity, my life reclaimed." Outside the district court, Evan and Nora argued with their lawyer. Nora's glare burned with venom. Evan's fleeting glance held a flicker of regret, but it was too late. That night, Margaret hosted a celebration at my Boston home with our friends. "Elaine," Beatrice said, "you didn't just win a trial. You reclaimed your life." She was right. I was free to create, love, and live without fear or guilt. 3 months later, I sold my house and moved to a vibrant downtown apartment. I donated half my savings to elder abuse prevention groups and used the rest to live my dreams, traveling South America, taking art classes, volunteering. I never heard from Evan or Nora again. Word reached me they'd downsized, and Nora got a job, perhaps learning the value of independence my generosity never taught. On quiet nights, gazing at stars from my balcony, I reflect on the fearful woman I was, buying love with money. That woman is gone. In her place stands Elaine, 72, who knows true love has no price and freedom is priceless. What would you do in my shoes? Share your thoughts below. I'm eager to hear. Where did you find the story? For more tales of resilience, subscribe, and consider supporting my storytelling with a donation. Warmest thanks. Until next time.